Marine. I was in the infantry, joined the Marine Corps in July of 2001. In 2002, I did the first Iraqi invasion with 5th Marines and 1st Marine Division, and then went to Okinawa for a couple of months later on in 2004, and then got rerouted to Fallujah, back to Iraq. So I did the Operation Vigilant Resolve with 1-5 in Fallujah. I was a squad leader there, ran a team, and then we were in a lot of chaotic situations in Fallujah. We were withdrawn, and then I came home, got promoted sergeant, went to Quantico to be an officer candidate school instructor. Was an OCS for 2 years there, and then went back to the fleet. Went to 1st Battalion, 6th Marines in 2008 in Southern Helmand. Did operations there. It was pretty kinetic there as well for the first month or two. That was Operation Fallujah, and we went back to Operation Marja in 2010. They finally got me, got shot, took on some injuries, but I was a platoon sergeant at the time and a Joint Fires Observer, so I helped out with the JTACRI and the THCP team. From there, I came back to Camp Lejeune, and then went to Special Operations Training Group, which is now Expeditionary Operations Training Group for 2MIF. I had to undergo surgery. I got a hip replacement early on. I was young, and then I retired, and they deemed me fit to retire in 2015. My wife is she's always been by my side. She's always guided me into doing the right things and taking care of me, and I'm blessed to have her. So she was like, let's try this out. I went through the process and applied, and I'm truly grateful that I did.
We've been married about 15 years. I'm a licensed clinical social worker in private practice. I've worked with adults and adolescents, veterans as well. I actually found out about the program through another client of mine who had signed up for the program and said a friend of his had done it and had some really great results. So I did a little research about it and decided that I would bring it to Bobby's attention. It's been interesting to see him go through this process. It's been pretty amazing, actually, the transformation I've seen.
I had a wall rocket that I used, and in combat, you don't think of the range regulations, right? I'm not thinking about back-blast area. I mean, I'm making sure that none of my Marines are behind me, but I shot a rocket, the wall was exactly right here. So my head and I just you don't think of that, that could possibly be a TBI effect. Not knowing, you're not hearing anything, and just simple things like that for Marines, especially in Fallujah. You're throwing grenades over the wall, you're breaking in a window, you're clearing a house that's full of insurgents, you got the adrenaline going, and you just don't think of it, what could really the third order effects are from that close quarters battle. In the past, prior to the treatment, I would be very explosive. I would be very agitated. I just feel very sluggish. And as the treatment started, I remember after the first 5 treatments, actually, I already had noticed a change. So after my first 5 dives, my son Robert was he was in baseball, Little League. And my wife had looked at me and said, Robert forgot his baseball hat. And easily in the past, prior to the 5 treatments, I probably would have exploded. I probably would have been frustrated. There probably would have been a ripple in the baseball game. Robert probably would have played under pressure, or I would have just exploded and said, all right, now we're just going home, right? I easily just said, no problem, right? No problem. And it's the reason those things stick in my head is because I remember my wife's reaction. And she kind of looked at me and I said, he forgot his hat, no problem. So, and I know that, Robert's 10 years old now. So I know I've come to realize after my dives that explosive, agitated, easily triggered mindset has definitely diminished. He has now noticed that he could be open and not as scared to talk to me.
Now he's really different because back then I would say, do you want to have a toss with the baseball? And he'd say, maybe in a little bit. Or do you want to play Army guys? And he'd just say, not today, maybe tomorrow. We wouldn't usually have like father-son time. And now we actually like have bonding time. Whenever I feel down, he picks me back up. I'm happy that this is a thing and that my dad can have the chance to do this, and he is feeling better now.
I've even noticed, and I noticed it on my last the last test that you have. There's one of the portions where you have to hit the X and then not hit the circle, and I could feel the communication. Prior to my treatments, I had hit like maybe 8 or 9 circles. And at the post, I only hit 1 circle. But I could feel the twinkling in my finger, the communication that I had not had when it comes to reflexes between my finger and my brain. And I sense that now with everyday things. And prior to the dives, I had tendonitis really bad. And the tendonitis went from ringing to a muffled sound. So it would, and I always have to move my jaw or hit my inner ear, and it would always go, and I would hear that. And since the treatment, I haven't had any of that. So there's so many positives, not just physical and mobility, but with neurological effects, and being able to know that, which I wasn't able to in the beginning. It's just tremendous. It's tremendous. It's improved and enhanced my way of life. I've been able to hone in on certain prioritized tasks rather than stress out, lose my mind, run around. My son's asking me questions, disregarding him, coming home frustrated with my wife. It's just enhanced my whole way of life, my thought process, and it's just been phenomenal.
You know, the things that I've seen, even out of like, you know, from a clinical perspective, it would have taken years of work, you know, clinically to get, I think, him where he is in terms of his mood and just his energy and irritability level, I think has just been much, much decreased. So that's pretty awesome, you know, because that's not something you can, you know, talk someone out of, you know. And oftentimes when we do trauma therapy is we're trying to help service members, you know, learn how to, you know, downregulate their nervous system again. That alarm bell in their brain has been tripped. And so this hyperbaric chamber therapy seemed to really just kind of help, you know, with that downregulation, you know. So it's been pretty amazing.
I definitely sense that transition from the dives, and it's just enabled my family to be more loving, more respecting, more calm. Even the dog, you know, she's more not even afraid of me. It's just been like really an awesome, you know, transition. In the military, you know, you're only as good as yourself, and you seek self-improvement, and we miss the mark when it comes to health, right? We always, we don't need that. I'll make that appointment tomorrow. Oh yeah, I'm better because I went on a 10-mile walk or ruck, or I lifted some weights today. But you're not really better. You're just sugarcoating it, and you're just adding more of it, and you're stacking it in the box. In the hyperbaric chamber, I've been an advocate since I've stopped the 40 treatments, and I've been praising it. I actually have just started being more active in my VFW posts. I've told all of them at this meeting that there is treatment that is far more better than anything you can get out there.
Because he saw and felt so much better so quickly. I think that was like, oh, well, this is a no-brainer. I'm going to keep doing it, right? Whereas, you know, some other forms of treatment, you know, things might get a little bit worse before they get better. And so I would just love to see this be the standard model of care.